G'day guys, I'm D-Mac from NBA Fantasy Bible, and along with me is Kayla Fonte, and together we're Between Two Hoops. Kayla, how are you going?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing really well. This is the third episode that we've recorded
Mhm.
tonight, this one being our injuries and our schedule for week 4. Shall we get into it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it indeed. Starting off, obviously, Chad Holmgren, bad news overnight, fractured hip. So he'll be reevaluated in about 8 to 10 weeks, but I'm thinking he's going to be out for about 3 months, which is
Mhm.
extremely disappointing, not just for those that have him on our fantasy teams, but also for the Thunder themselves. Very, very disappointing to hear that news. And it looked like a very hard fall, but I didn't expect him to be out for 3 months.
Yeah, it was very surprising just to get that update overnight. I don't think there's really like a clear ad here, but there's a couple of guys who can get more usage. And we talked about Alex Caruso on our holds list. So yeah, we'll definitely have to see how that lineup shapes out. But we also have Isaiah Hartenstein returning in a couple of weeks as well.
Yeah, so that's good news for Hartenstein and his value as well. We spoke about, as you said, Caruso, Lou Dort's an ad as well. Some of the lesser likes may get a boost as well, but not necessarily 12-team worthy, Casson Wallace, Aaron Wiggins and the like. But yeah, extremely disappointing for Chet Holmgren. Anthony Davis, we heard that he is going to get an opinion or an assessment on his eye. So we'll work out, it's to be determined what that timeline is to return. Hopefully it's not a long-term issue, but we'll find out hopefully today. So watch this space. Yusuf Nurkic left the game early with ankle soreness. Now I noticed that a lot of the pickups for today were Plumlee. That's interesting. I guess people are expecting that Nurkic misses some time. I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I kind of want to see the updates first to determine the severity and how long he'll be out.
Yep. The other one's Bradley Beal. I'm not as concerned. Knee designated as day-to-day at this stage, but I think he left the game early yesterday, but I would expect that he is back very shortly.
Mhm. And that's Royce O'Neal's time to shine, especially with Durant out.
Especially with Durant out, and we'll get to Durant shortly. But Malik Monk also with an ankle issue at the moment, and if he does miss time, we spoke about this on our previous show with our ads and drops, but Kevin Huerter is an ad. Keon Ellis is a consideration as an ad, probably more a streamer level guy. But yeah, let's watch this space with Malik Monk. And the next two, more ankle issues. This one, ankle sprain. Jalen Duren yet again with ankle issues, but I expect him to return sometime soon. But if he doesn't, again, we spoke about this on our other show, but Isaiah Stewart is the pickup there. But Jalen Duren, I'm hoping that he does return any day now.
Yeah, hopefully it's nothing too serious. But Isaiah Stewart is definitely the good streamer in the meantime. And for Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero has really stepped up and is also a sell high for us.
Absolutely. Now, getting into the next one, the big news. Before we get that, breaking news. This came probably in the last half an hour, but Asar Thompson has been cleared to return to the court. He has been out for several weeks due to a blood clot. So this was announced by Shams in a tweet not that long ago. So that's fantastic news for Detroit and for Asar Thompson. I'm not rushing to add him in a lot of spots right now, but if you have a spare IL and he still has that IL injured designation, slot him in there because we know that he does have that fantasy upside. His fantasy stat set is amazing, and we saw it in part for a few weeks last season as well. So who knows what's going to happen, but yeah, it's just a great news story. Fantastic to see. So I'm looking forward to seeing him back on court.
Yeah, me as well. And he's still only about 45%-ish rostered on Yahoo. But yeah, I'm not rushing to add him. More of a speculative ad at the moment, but he has that potential for sure.
He does, and especially on that young team, he will be part of that core for quite some time. So it wouldn't surprise me if he does get a little bit more playing time than the likes of maybe Tim Hardaway or Malik Beasley. But yeah, let's see what happens there. Big news here, Joel Embiid will return on Tuesday. I believe they're playing the Knicks, so that's a bit of a blockbuster there. So that's back from his knee injury. That's been hampering him, and of course his 3-game suspension as well. So very good news for those that firstly had the balls to draft him, and hopefully it wasn't too high, but also the patience to hold on to him during the first 3 weeks. But yeah, very good news. He'll be returning on Tuesday. Another one that's going to hopefully return today is Trey Murphy the third, and I'm very happy with this one because he's one of my guys, and I'm extremely excited to see what he can do, particularly with the Pelicans that are completely banged up right now.
Yeah, he's gonna take a while to ramp up, but I mean, he's looked really good in previous seasons.
He has indeed. Going backwards there. Going forward now. Joel Embiid's teammate, Tyrese Maxey, he's out with a hammy. He'll be reevaluated in 1 week, but I hope that he returns fairly shortly. But again, you can't be too careful with hamstring injuries because we can see, and we have seen in the past, what's happened with mismanagement of hamstring injuries. We saw it
Mhm.
last year with Tyrese Halliburton. We've seen it a couple of times this season as well. But yeah, let's hope that Maxi returns fairly shortly. Similar timeline, Kyle Kuzma, maybe in about a week's time with a groin issue, and also Marcus Smart with an ankle issue. Marcus Smart is not a must roster guy, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Kyle Kuzma is. But yeah, keep an eye out for these timelines. But hopefully they both return soon. And of course, that has flow on effects. Kyle Kuzma's return will impact the likes of Bilal Coulibaly, Jordan Poole, Kai-Sean George as well. So keep that in mind when you're looking at your adds and drops as well.
Mhm.
Marcus Smart's teammate, Ja Morant, we heard some pretty bad news that it will be a week-to-week proposition here. And of course, Scottie Pippen Jr. is the ad here. So just make sure that he has been already added. But yeah, we discussed that in a fair amount of detail in one of our earlier episodes with our ads and drops. So go and check that one out over on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Another teammate, Desmond Bain, also week to week at this stage with an oblique injury. Again, we'll need to be patient with this one, but I'm hoping that this will be a shorter term injury. But yeah, at this stage, the designation is week to week. Any insights on that, Kayla?
All I can say is that I'm starting to avoid the Grizzlies in drafts just because we tend to see this like every year with all the injuries now. And hopefully it is nothing serious, but I don't know. At least there's some gems in here with Scottie Pippen Jr., Santi Aldama. We've also talked about Jalen Wells too. So there's some positives to come out of it, but still, if you're taking chances on these high guys and then this happens every season, it's discouraging.
Yep. And not to mention, again, we mentioned it in our other episode, but Jay Huff, top 50 guy in
Mhm.
9K. Can you believe that? I just can't believe
Nuts.
that. Next one we've been waiting for, but Kevin Durant, he's out for another 2 weeks with a calf strain. That's just an old man thing. But yeah, he was on fire earlier in the season. First rounder, MVP candidate, just MVP level type of play from the old man. But yeah, he's 36. So these types of things do happen. I know. I'm almost 40 myself, but that is unfortunate for those that do have Kevin Durant. And yeah, he was off to a hot start. So let's hope that he returns very shortly. DeJounte Murray, he's been out for quite some time with a hand injury, but his timeline is around 2 weeks as well. Same goes for his teammates, CJ McCollum and Herb Jones as well. So yeah, the banged up Pelicans, but in a couple of weeks' time, that's going to look a lot prettier, at least on that sheet of theirs, on the playing sheet. Scotty Barnes, your guy, he's out for another 3 weeks as well, but he was actually in our buy low episode. So I do think he is a bit of a buy low at this stage
Mhm.
because what was he ranked about 94th in
Yep.
categories, which is really, really low, plus the injury as well. Could be frustrating a lot of managers right now. So see if you can chuck out some buy low opportunities or buy low trade requests for Scotty Barnes owners. Bogdan Bogdanovic, he played one game, pulled a hammy, and he's been out ever since. But another 3 weeks for him. When he does return, that'll have some flow-on effects for the likes of your guy, Dyson Daniels, and a few others as well. So Zachary Ricochet, DeAndre
Mhm.
Hunt has been out for quite some time. But yeah, it'll change the dynamic a little bit, but it will improve them. Kristaps Porzingis, he has had this long-term injury for quite some time, but he's returning from foot surgery. By all accounts, the recovery is to plan. So I'm hoping that we see him sometime in December. So that's on track at this stage. So, of course, his return will impact pretty much the entire Nets starting
Mhm.
lineup and guys on the bench like Peyton Pritchard as well. They'll get less opportunities to come on and shine.
Yeah, he will take a little while to ramp up. But yeah, it's definitely going to have a significant impact throughout the team.
We've also listed Aaron Naismith, who will return in December. But yeah, Indiana are also a little bit banged up with some of their lesser likes, not their superstars, but Aaron Naismith, Andrew Nembhard,
Mm.
Obi Toppin missed the last game. And of course, their backup centers, Isaiah Jackson, James Wiseman as well. So yeah, pretty banged up there over in Indiana.
Yeah, but Benedict
Excellent.
Mathurin has looked great. Sell high.
Benedict Mathurin has looked great, and I hate to say it again, but go and check out our episode on sell highs because he's an absolute sell high. Another superstar, Kawhi Leonard. We haven't seen him this season, and that's been extremely disappointing. But he's still out for multiple weeks. Timeline to return is still unclear.
Mhm. Yeah, but in the meantime, there are a couple of deeper streaming options that we've looked at. Even Kevin Porter Jr. as well, playing a different position but still receiving quality minutes.
Yep. Aaron Gordon's out for multiple weeks as well. Peyton Watson has come in and is doing a very good job at the moment for the Denver Nuggets. Now, Nick Richards is also out for multiple weeks. This will coincide with Mark Williams' return. We hope that they'll return about the same time, and I'm hoping that'll be in the next few weeks. But again, timelines are a little bit unclear, but hey, what's new with the Charlotte Hornets? We don't really know what's happening over there with their injuries.
Yep.
We spoke about Chet Holmgren, but Isaiah Hartenstein is set to return within the next month, and that's going to be great because, like we said, Chet's going to be out for 2 to 3 months, more likely 3 months, and then it'll take some time to ramp up. So that's fantastic news for those that have Isaiah Hartenstein in their fantasy teams.
Yeah, definitely much needed, especially with Chet out. They need that center.
Yeah, and the next few guys, we'll just quickly fire through these because they are longer term injuries. But Paolo Banchero with an oblique issue, 4 to 6 weeks. So that's extremely disappointing. Mitchell Robinson, about 2 more months. I'm not even sure if he's going to be a must roster guy in 12s, to be honest. He'll be playing behind Cat. So that's a pretty tough gig. Of course, he would be a must roster guy if he was starting and playing decent minutes. I just don't see it behind Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, I agree.
We spoke about the Pelicans being banged up, but here's another one. Their superstars on. Williamson is out indefinitely. So again, go have a look at our ads, drops, and streamers episode because we go through a whole heap of options there, particularly with the Pelicans being so banged up at the moment. But yeah, Zion out indefinitely at this stage, which is extremely disappointing, but somewhat unsurprising, just knowing his history with injuries. Mark
Mm.
Williams, we spoke about him earlier. So, yeah, not too sure on his exact timeline, but let's hope that it is shortly that he returns to the court. Chris Middleton, God, the Bucks need him desperately because they look absolutely atrocious right now. And yeah, it's almost panic stations at this stage, but I think he'll give them some nice stability, just that veteran presence, just to help Giannis and co there. Yep, Chris Middleton, no clear timeline, but he's getting close. Jeremy Sohan, no clear timeline on that one, but that's multiple weeks, if not months, and possible rumors as well. Or you've seen a couple of things on Twitter that it could be rest of season. I'm not so
Mhm.
sure. I haven't seen that myself, but yeah, just keep an eye out for that timeline. Let's get confirmation on that. But if you can put him into IL, do so. But if you need to move on or you have other injured guys, I think it's okay to drop him in 12s.
Yeah, agreed.
Wendell Carter Jr., no clear timeline, but I don't think this is going to be a longer term issue for him. I'm hoping that he'll be able to return to the court this week. But of course, we spoke about Goga Badadze being a really nice fill in at this stage for Wendell Carter Jr. And if possible, if you can stash him in IL, this is Carter I'm talking about, I would do so because I think he is a back end 12 team guy. And we spoke about that again on one of our earlier episodes.
Mm.
Malcolm Brogdon, yeah, almost the forgotten man at the Washington Wizards, but no timeline to return.
Yeah, and the return is definitely going to impact some of the younger guys, but I think we still have a long time until he's back on the court.
Yeah, and Bob Carrington's looked pretty good. He's questionable for the next game, which is today. Let's see if he does recover in time for that one. Lonzo Ball, no need to roster him. He's got a wrist issue, but of course, he was slowly ramping up after his return from a long-term 2-year injury as well. So no need to roster him in 12s. And if you do, that's unnecessary.
Yeah, agreed.
Asar Thompson, we haven't updated this one, but he now has medical clearance. So that's fantastic. We spoke about that earlier. And Taylor Hendricks, unfortunately, he's still on this list, but yeah, he is out for the season. But yeah, that tanking Jazz team are going to be leaning into that youth pretty heavily moving forward. That's it for our notable injuries. Kayla, take it away for our schedule for week 4.
Yeah, so week 4, stretching from the 11th to the 17th. So there are 16 teams with 4 games this week, 12 teams with 3, and 2 teams with only 2 games. So these teams are probably the best for bulk streaming options. So you might want to avoid the Nuggets and the Warriors. Obviously, with the Nuggets, there are some gold mines with Watson, but it's hard to do bulk streaming when you're only playing 2 games, of course. But there are some other gold mines with the 3 and 4 games this week that you can use for bulk streaming, especially with over half of the league playing 4 games this week.
Yeah, it's a real disadvantage for guys with Denver and Warriors players on their
Mhm.
team. And Peyton Watson, yeah, it's a tough one because I think he should be on a 12-team roster, but with only 2 games this week and with some nice value on the waiver wire in 12s and, of course, in shallower leagues, that's a
Mhm.
tough hold at this stage. But yeah, if you can afford it, yeah, I would hold. But yeah, it's a tough one,
Yeah.
a distinct disadvantage for those that do have Denver and Warriors guys on their teams.
Yeah.
Moving on. Let's just have a quick look down at the daily breakdown.
Yep. So for Monday, we got 5 games, Tuesday, 8 games, Wednesday, 11. Thursday, there's only 1, so not a lot of streaming opportunities there. Friday, there's 12, Saturday, 5, and Sunday, 10. It is a little bit
Coming
harder to
from
stream on the high volume days, but early in the week, you have a couple of opportunities for Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday might be a little bit tricky. And then Saturday and Sunday, there are some more options.
Yep. And looking at our back-to-backs.
Yeah, so there are a couple of days where there's no back to backs. Tuesday and Wednesday would be the best opportunity to bulk stream, as well as Friday, Saturday, and Saturday, Sunday to close out the week. Tuesday, Wednesday has the most. The most glaring thing here is that Boston has that back to back on Tuesday, Wednesday. So expect Al Horford to sit either on the Tuesday or the Wednesday.
Yeah, and we haven't seen it yet, but Mike Conley, Minnesota are there on the Tuesday, Wednesday. Mike Conley hasn't sat, but he has played
Mhm.
a lot less minutes as well. So they're really managing his minutes, even though he is playing both legs of the back-to-back. So yeah, it's something to keep in mind. Philly as well have the back-to-back. Would you expect that Embiid sits one of those two?
Oh, guaranteed. Yeah, Embiid for sure. Possibly even Paul George.
Yep. Maybe they split it, or maybe they both take the night off on one of those legs. So we shall see. That'll be interesting. But of course, there's some nice streamers for the 76ers that we spoke about again on one of
Mhm.
our other episodes with our streaming episode. That is a wrap. Thank you so much, Kayla. That's
Thank
it
you.
for our injuries and our schedule. Any closing words?
Yeah. One last thing. Bitches Be Balling will be recording our podcast tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, I haven't missed an episode. That's a really nice
Thank you.
dynamic that you have with Yuri. Fantastic, great perspective on fantasy basketball, and it's an added bonus that it's all female as well. So coming from a girl
Mhm.
dad, I love that as well. So I'm trying to get
Awesome.
my daughters into fantasy basketball. Not quite there yet, but yeah, they're still very
One
young.
day.
One day, one day. You know where to find us. You'll find myself at NBA Fantasy Bible. You'll find Kayla on Twitter at Kayla_Fonte. Of course, you have hopefully watched us or listened to us on our existing platforms, but like and subscribe this video on YouTube and follow us on Spotify, Twitter, Apple Podcasts as well. So thank you so much, Kayla. And until
Thank
next
you.
time, thank you very much, guys. See ya.
Take care.